Welcome to the About the Face podcast, sponsored by the American Academy of Facial Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery through the Facial Plastic Surgery and Aesthetic Medicine Journal.
Hey guys, this is Dr. Aaron Wiegmann, Aesthetic Plastic Surgery Fellow at the Aesthetic Fellowship in Dallas, Texas. Here to talk a little bit about a recent paper we wrote that's published in the journal Facial Plastic Surgery and Aesthetic Medicine, titled Artificial Intelligence Enhanced Simulation of Facial Filler Sequencing. I wrote this with my fellowship mentor, Rohrich. So artificial intelligence is a really hot topic in the field of plastic surgery and facial plastic surgery. If you take a look at the literature, you can see, especially in the last 5 years, there's an absolute explosion in papers that are published, that have been published about artificial intelligence and various applications in the field. Artificial intelligence has been used to study aesthetic ideals of the human form. One aspect that we think artificial intelligence has real potential game-changing applications is in pre-procedural simulation. Simulation can be a really important tool for patient counseling and setting patient expectations in a plastic surgeon's office. Simulation technologies are really widely used in plastic surgery, and sometimes they can involve expensive 3D imaging suites, and sometimes those imaging suites can require a certain degree of manual manipulation. Some of the newer modalities that are out there are starting to kind of take some of the manual aspects out of it. But, really artificial intelligence has a huge potential here. AI represents a new frontier in plastic surgery simulation because inexpensive artificial intelligence generative fill technology can instantly alter and rejuvenate specifically demarcated areas of patient photographs to render realistic post-procedural results. There are a few companies that are coming on the scene that use proprietary AI models that are trained in certain ways to provide realistic simulation of facial filler results. One of the major reasons why we decided to study this was because we really don't have anything readily available to provide our patients with realistic pre-procedural simulation results for facial filler injections. AI models can bridge this gap, and literally a patient photograph can be uploaded into an AI platform. A specific area to be treated can be manually demarcated, such as an area of temporal hollowing on an oblique view photograph. And artificial intelligence generative fill technology can produce a post-injection result in the matter of several seconds. So this is really exciting during a patient consult for facial fillers because the patient can visualize what the change is going to look like on their own face. This technology is really easy to use, and as companies begin to bring this into the mainstream, plastic surgery artificial intelligence simulation platforms are going to become more and more user-friendly. The simulation that we undertook in this study did involve a little bit of learning to become facile in the platform. However, really with a little bit of practice, artificial intelligence pre-filler injection simulation are really quite straightforward and can be performed by a plastic surgeon, physician assistant, nurse practitioner, or even support staff. Some of the companies that are coming into the market for AI simulation of facial filler injections are still quite expensive and are usually subscription-based at several $100s a year. Something a little unique about our study is that we purposefully chose to use a very cheap, straightforward, and easily accessible artificial intelligence generative fill platform that costs $12 for a year. This platform is not specifically trained for the purpose of simulating facial filler injections. However, we chose this because we wanted to see how easily this technology, despite being untrained, can perform this simulation. Successful simulation with an untrained AI model really bodes quite well for future potential of using AI models that are specifically trained to perform these simulations. Successful pre-filler injection AI simulation using this cheap and untrained model also provides evidence that this technology is readily available and suggests that there will be a good deal of competition in the market in the future, which will likely drive costs down. A little bit of background about these generative fill models. Generative fill is a machine learning technology It's now mainstream and available in many popular graphic design programs such as Photoshop. Generative fill is a form of latent text-to-image generation where a text prompt is input and the AI model, which is often trained with millions of images, generates new image content based on the content of the image that is being edited. When we say that a model is untrained to perform these filler injection simulations, it means that the model has not been given a substantial amount of pre and post injection photographs and has not learned specifically how these various injections change the morphology of a person's face. An AI platform that is trained to perform this purpose would be given just that. It would be trained with as many pre and post injection photographs as possible in various views and on various human facial phenotypes. The main finding in this study is that we were able to successfully perform simulation of facial filler injections using a very cheap and readily available untrained artificial intelligence model. This is something that we deemed definitely of value to a potential in-office consultation for facial fillers, even in its current untrained form. We used generative fill AI technology to perform a whole face top-down filler sequence as would be recommended in our practice. And so in a top-down fashion, the temples, malar region, nasolabial folds, lateral chin, and jawline were simulated in that order. The whole face simulation took approximately 5 minutes to complete and definitely became more streamlined with practice. We compared pre-simulation, post-simulation, and real post-injection photographs visually using the expertise of myself and Dr. Rohrich, and evaluated for feasibility and how clinically realistic they could serve as simulation adjunct during patient counseling for injectables. The AI generative fill model was found to instantly generate clinically realistic changes to the patient photograph that successfully represented whole face facial rejuvenation with soft tissue fillers. All of these regions were really well volumized and rejuvenated using this simulation and were really quite comparable to the actual post-injection photographs. As previously mentioned, this particular AI model's lack of filler simulation training made its application for this task less seamless. Probably some of these companies that have come out with models trained for the specific purpose of simulating facial filler injections would likely be much easier to work with. Our inputted text prompts required some variability to achieve desired results in different regions of the face. In about 15% of simulation attempts, we had to change slightly our text prompt because we were getting some erroneous results. The model also struggled with facial areas that had significant shadowing, such as the periapical region in a frontal view photograph. Another interesting finding was that some of the simulated areas tended to blur to a minor degree. We saw that this hid some fine wrinkles and skin irregularities, which could potentially lead to an unrealistic result when compared to real post-injection photographs. And this raises the potential concern of AI simulation overselling outcomes or leading to unrealistic patient expectations. This is something that will definitely come up in the future and will need to be studied further. Really, the next step going forward is to perform a high-quality study of an AI model that is actually specifically trained to perform facial filler simulation and to do a high-quality comparison between those simulations and actual results. It's important for plastic surgeons and facial plastic surgeons to understand that this technology is available and that more and more iterations of this technology are going to enter the market. We will certainly continue to apply this in our practice as we have a small series of patients that we've found it to be quite beneficial in helping them get a sense of what their results might look like. The successful simulation in this study is really evidence that the widespread routine use of this innovation is imminent. We believe that a lot of this is going to be able to be done in a very streamlined fashion using a smartphone or an office-based tablet to take patient photos and perform the simulation on the spot. We hope that you enjoyed reading this article, and we hope that it inspires some readers and listeners out there to really push the envelope forward in terms of studying artificial intelligence-based pre-procedural simulation in plastic surgery and facial plastic surgery. Thank you for listening, and thank you to Facial Plastic Surgery and Aesthetic Medicine for giving us the opportunity to discuss this interesting paper.
We'd like to thank the authors for their commentary, and thank you for listening to our podcast. If you'd like to explore more, please feel free to check out the article in print at the Facial Plastic Surgery and Aesthetic Medicine Journal or online. We'll catch you on the next one.